hear me? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Hello, behind it. You know what's going on. It's quite all right. The Most High's word will go forth, cannot be stopped. If I am silenced, there will be others. It's quite all right. He can raise up stones to bring forth his word. And so we don't worry about those things. The object, brothers and sisters, of everything that is being done in anything that is called truth or righteousness for the Most High, is for the Most High to be exalted. It's for his word to go forth. It's for his name to be honored and glorified. It is not for the glory and honor of man. And so, as we're studying Deuteronomy, we're talking about, before we were cut off, how the covenant is the central theme of the word of the Most High. It is the central theme of the book of Deuteronomy. And you say, well, what about Messiah? What about who they call Jesus? Isn't he the central theme? No, he points you to the central theme. That's what he does. He said he came to do his Father's will. He is the messenger of the covenant. He is the anointed Son of the Most High. And the object is for him to point us to the Father. Now the Father is going to give glory and honor to his Son. Bible says he's going to give glory to his Son. Sit at my right hand until I make thine enemies thy footstool. But yet the covenant of the Father, which is a representation of his righteous character, is the central theme of everything in the Bible. Adam was created in the image of the Most High Yah. This means he was created. Most people look at his physical character traits of Adam. That is not the main theme here. You have to understand, Asatan in his attack, and that's what it is an attack on the Most High, in trying to usurp his throne, in trying to make himself into a god. He is attacking the character and word of the Most High. In fact, we know that in the Garden of Eden, as we study the scripture account, we know that he called the Most High a liar. He called him a liar. You say, well, when did he call him a liar? He said, you shall not surely die, he told Eve, for Yah doth know, in the day you eat thereof, you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. So what he was trying to say was the Most High was lying to Adam and Eve. And then Messiah said that okay, all right, no problem, sister Asha, no problem. So are you in the Hangouts? No, you're not in Hangouts. Okay. Do you want to go to Hangouts? Do you have the address? You could, okay. You have the address to go over there? Okay, no problem. All right. Okay. But you can hear. Okay, let me give it to you. Hang on. All right. There is the address. Okay, there is the address. Okay. Okay. So Asatan called the Father a liar. In the Gospel of Yochanan, he told us that Asatan was a liar from the beginning, that when he speaketh a lie, he speaketh his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. And that's just how he works. The character traits of Asatan, he tries to put on other people or other beings. In this case, the Most High, the creator of all, he tries to put his own wicked character trait on the Most High. The Most High is a liar. He's attacking the Most High's character. Just like if somebody was to call you or I a liar, they'd be attacking our character. That makes sense, brothers and sisters? So if they call us a liar, they'd be attacking our character. Well, Asatan is calling the Most High a liar and attacking his character. And the Bible says the whole world worships him and follow after him. So he has deceived the whole world. And in doing so, the whole world is also attacking the Father's character and calling him a liar. That's what they're doing. That's, in fact, the truth be told, not just the whole world is doing it. You and I did it too. Before we were redeemed, we were deceived. This is the thing, brothers and sisters. The Bible says he deceiveth the whole world. That includes us. So we were deceived before we were redeemed by the Most High Yah. Before we came into a knowledge of the truth of his word, we were liars, and we were attacking the character. With our lifestyle, with our words, with how we believe things, we were attacking the character and honor the Most High. But praise the name of the Most High that through his son, Yahweh Shai, a way has been made to get us back into harmony with our Father. And in doing so, getting us back into harmony with our Father, it means getting us back into harmony, getting us into harmony with the covenant. With the covenant. The covenant of holiness and righteousness and truth. So the book of Deuteronomy has the covenant in it. It has the history of the nation and its journeys from Egypt to the promised land in it. It has statutes and judgments in it that are basically points of the covenant that are showing in everyday life how we live the covenant. And of course, in every chapter, every division of these chapters of the book of Deuteronomy, Adavarim, he's telling his people, keep my commandments, keep my commandments, put away sin and keep my commandments. He's keep telling us that. And Messiah in the New Testament illustrates more powerfully than any place. That's why the whole reason, to me, as I read the New Testament, and most people misunderstand it. Most people misunderstand it. Either they disregard it because they think it's, whatever, they think it's wrong, or they only look at it and disregard the Old Testament. Neither of which, they're just two sides of deep ditches that are not on the road. But the New Testament theme, as we've said over and over again, we will continue to say, the New Testament theme is justification by faith. Justification by faith. All of the letters that the Spirit of the Most High Yah inspired the hand of Shaul to write, and most of the New Testament is written through the hand of Shaul, who's the Apostle Paul, are on the subject of justification by faith. A misunderstood subject, a subject which is being perverted by Asatan, so that people are either disregarding the whole New Testament and disregarding that subject with it, and then with it the power to overcome all your sin and be in harmony with the covenant again, or are saying that there's no law, disregarding again justification by faith, misunderstanding it, disregarding it, and again therefore losing all ability to have power over sin. See, the Bible does say very plainly, sin shall not have dominion over you, for you are not under the law but under grace. This is one of the great misunderstood, mistaught doctrines in the scriptures. Sin shall not have dominion over you, for you are not under the law but under grace. What is that really saying? What is that really saying? Let's look at it. Romans chapter 6. We're going to study Deuteronomy today, but we need a backdrop. Romans chapter 6. Think of nothing better to start with than the doctrine of justification by faith. It is vital. Let me just say before we get started, without this understanding, you will not overcome your sin. You cannot. There is no person in their own strength that can overcome their sin. If you can overcome your sin in your own strength, there will be no need of a Messiah. No need. If it was possible for you to overcome your sin or for me to overcome my sin in our own strength, there'd be no need of Messiah. And if it was impossible for us to overcome sin, if it was completely impossible and there was no way we could ever overcome sin, why did Messiah come anyway? See? Ridiculously, people are trying to get both sides of that. You can't overcome your sin, or Messiah died so that we don't have to worry about sin and we can just sin. It makes no sense. First, we understand the scripture plainly tells us the definition of sin. Sin is the transgression of the Most High's law. That's what sin is. Transgression of his law. That means transgression of his covenant. Anything that says sin, you must understand is just, you can substitute that term, transgression of the law. Okay? Notice what the scripture said in Romans chapter 6. Romans 6, going to read from verse, where am I going to start? Romans chapter 6. I'm going to start at verse 1 of Romans 6. And I'm going to go down to verse 15. Watch. What shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? No, wait. Shall we continue in transgressing the law of the Most High that grace may abound? Does that make sense? Right? No. He says, Yah forbid. How shall we that are dead to sin live any longer therein? I want to make sure you can hear. Testing 1, 2, 3. I want to make sure you can hear, because I want to make sure, I hope those in YouTube land can hear, because this is, okay, this is very important. Know ye not that so many of us, as were baptized into Yahushua Mashiach, were baptized into his death? Therefore, we are buried with him by baptism into death, that like as Messiah was raised up from the dead by the glory of the Father, he was raised up from the dead by the glory of the Father, even so we also should walk in newness of life. For if we have been planted together in the likeness of his death, we shall be also in the likeness of his resurrection. Knowing this, that our old man is crucified with him, that the body of sin might be destroyed, that henceforth we should not serve sin. It's pretty plain, isn't it? We should not serve sin. That our old man is destroyed. Well, how does that happen? Let's continue. For he that is dead, is giving you a big hint there, he that is dead is freed from sin. Now, if we be dead with Messiah, we believe that we shall also live with him, knowing that Messiah, being raised from the dead, dieth no more, death has no more dominion over him. For in that he died unto sin once. But in that he liveth unto Yahweh. Likewise, reckon ye also yourselves to be dead indeed unto sin, but alive unto Yahweh through Messiah, Yahushua Messiah, our master. How are we dead to sin? That's a question people I would ask. I was asking it for many years. How is it that we're dead to sin? It keeps talking about being dead to sin. How do you become dead to sin? Right? That's the key thing here. How do you become dead to sin? Let's continue reading. Likewise, reckon yourselves to be dead indeed unto sin, but alive unto Yahweh through Messiah Yahushua, our master. Let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body, that ye should obey it in the lust thereof. Neither yield ye your members as instruments of unrighteousness unto sin, but yield yourselves unto Yahweh as those that are alive from the dead, and your members as instruments of righteousness unto Yahweh. For sin shall not have dominion over you, for you are not under the law, but under grace. What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under grace? Yah forbid. Wait a minute. Let's stop right here. What does he mean when he says not under the law, but under grace? He's talking about being under the condemnation of Yah's covenant. The wages of sin is death, he said in chapter 3. And in chapter 8, there's no condemnation to them that are in Messiah. So he's talking about, not talking about disobeying the law, because that would make no sense. He's not telling you to be free from transgression to continue in transgression. That doesn't make any sense, yet that's what many teach. Talking about being free from the condemnation of death through the Messiah. Because Messiah became the Lamb of Yah that takes away our sin. See, the object of the plan of salvation is to take sin off of us and to take the penalty of sin also off of us and replace the sin and its penalty with righteousness, with the righteousness that Adam was created in when he was first made in the image of the Father. Does that make sense, brothers and sisters? So the object is to take sin off of us and replace it with righteousness. That's called born again. That is done by the Spirit of the Most High Yah, which is the Spirit of righteousness and holiness, which we receive when we confess that we are sinners, deserving of death and needing redemption through Messiah. Because it's through Messiah and he came for that purpose, the Father will allow the blood of Messiah to take a sin off of us. The spirit of sin will be taken off of us. The spirit of sin will be taken off of us and replaced with the righteousness of the Most High Yah as it is found in Messiah. Let me say that again. Messiah is the representation when he came to the earth. He is the messenger of the covenant, or the angel of the covenant. He's called that because he is the representation of the covenant. That's why he's called the Word made flesh. The Word being the covenant. He is the messenger of the covenant, the Word made flesh. And because he is a representation, a perfect representation of the Father's righteousness, that righteousness is imputed, the Bible says, to us. It's given to us. It's put on us in a spirit. That's how it's put on us. It's a spirit. See, obedience and righteousness and holiness is a spirit, brothers and sisters. Just like sin is a spirit. And that is cast off of us and out of us by the blood of Messiah and replaced by the spirit of righteousness and holiness. That's how we are dead to sin. It's very simple. We're seeking to have the Most High perform an operation that he does through Messiah. You see, when Messiah was on the earth casting out devils, you think that that's just ended with him doing that then? Devils are being cast out of any person that is born again. Okay? Any person that is born again. And you're born again when the spirit of sin that is part of you and in you is taken off of you, and the spirit of righteousness replaces it. What is that? And the spirit of righteousness replaces it. Let's continue. Verse 16 down to verse 23. Know ye not to whom ye yield yourselves servants to obey, his servants ye are to whom ye obey, whether of sin unto death or of obedience unto righteousness. Whose spirit is controlling you? Is it the spirit of sin that's controlling you? Or is the spirit of righteousness controlling you? Well, you say, how do you know? Which one are you acting out? Which one is the dominant theme in your life? Is it the spirit of righteousness you seek? Or is it the spirit of holiness you seek from the Most High? Do you seek that? Most people don't even seek that. You know what they're seeking? You know what they're seeking? They're seeking to be saved in a church. That's what they're seeking. They're seeking to be saved in a church. That's what most people are seeking. And that's why they miss the whole thing. Salvation is not in a denomination, in a church. It's not in a religion. Salvation is in Messiah himself. And it is his righteousness and his death over sin that causes salvation. The Bible says, I am not ashamed, in this very book of Romans, I am not ashamed of the gospel of Messiah. Because why? It is the power of Yah unto salvation to all that believe, to all that believe, to all that commit. The word believe is to commit, to all that commit, to the Jew first and also to the Greek. For therein, that is in the gospel, is the righteousness of Yah revealed from faith. The just shall live by faith. The righteousness of Yah is revealed. And that is, in that righteousness is the power to overcome sin. Let's go back here to what we're reading. Romans chapter 6, verse 17 down to verse 23. But Yah be thanked that ye were servants of sin, but ye have obeyed from the heart that form of doctrine which was delivered you, being then made free from sin Ye became servants of righteousness. That means sin is now taken off you and righteousness is put on. And by the you live. You live, not just you live, but you live for the Most High. You live for his glory and his honor, not yours. That's one of the signs. If you're still looking for your honor and glory, if you're still seekingly desperate, that's why the Bible says the heart of man is desperately wicked. It says is desperate is what does it say? Their heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. You know why? Because secretly all of us want to be exalted. We all want self to be exalted. We all want to be seen and heard. We all want glory. We all want to be famous. That's why so many people are out here trying to be famous and rich from all walks of life. They all try to do that. Desperately wicked. And so when you can say, honestly, you don't want to be seen, you want the Most High to be seen. You want his glory to be in him alone, not you. See all these people singing, these people that come out here and they sing, oh, I want to give honor to God. They're not giving honor to God. They're looking for a record deal. That's the truth about it. They're looking for a record deal. Somebody come to them and sign. So many of these singers started off in churches. You ever notice that? Some of these most famous singers, R&B singers, you know, all country sing. These people started off in churches, and they start off singing in churches, and they think they're glorifying the Most High while they are being glorified. It doesn't work like that. Not on this earth. Messiah did not glorify himself. He would heal people and say, "Don't say anything." He would do things and tell people, "Don't say anything." He would quietly come and go. Nobody would see him. Then people would follow him in flocks, and he would sneak away to go pray. You know, he wasn't trying. And this is Messiah, Mashiach, the Son of the Most High. The representation of righteousness. He did not glorify himself. He didn't fly around private jets and have gold dingling off of him. That wasn't him. He wasn't seeking to be idol, American Idol, or win no Grammy or no Oscar. Them people seeking to, I don't care how nice everybody, oh, they're so nice. They rich and they nice too. Hey, listen here. That's Satan. That's Satan stuff right there. Okay. That's how you know. You want to glorify self, you know what spirit you got. You seeking to cause self to cease so that the Most High can increase and his glory can be seen, and that's all his righteousness in your obedience to the covenant. Now you're talking. Now you're talking. Being made free from sin, you became servants of righteousness. I speak after the manner of men because of the infirmity of your flesh. For as ye have yielded your members servants unto uncleanness and to iniquity unto iniquity, even so now, yield your members servants to righteousness unto holiness. That's a spirit, brothers and sisters. For if ye were the servants of sin, for when we were the servants of sin, you were free from righteousness. What fruit had ye then in those things whereof now you are ashamed? The end of those things is death. But now being made free from sin and become servants to Yah, ye have your fruit unto holiness and the end everlasting life. For the wages of sin is death, but the gift of Yah is eternal life through Yahushua Mashiach, our master. What is that? Through Messiah, the sin bearer. Yah makes it possible for us to overcome all our sin and escape the penalty of sin, which is death. Death. And to be obedient to his commandments, which brings us back to Deuteronomy. Brothers and sisters, in Deuteronomy, we talked about how Deuteronomy has the covenant in it. Deuteronomy has the history of our fathers' journey from Egypt to the promised land. Deuteronomy also has the teachings, statutes, and judgments of the Most High. And also, I want to say this very clearly. I'll make sure y'all can hear me. Isha, Bathaman, can you hear me? Bathaman, can you hear me? Okay. Deuteronomy is telling us how our fathers were instructed to handle their business land. I want to make sure. I want to say that again. Deuteronomy is given to our fathers, the nation of Israel, as to how to handle themselves in the promised land. So let me ask you all a question right now. If you're an Israelite, ask yourself a question. Are you in the promised land right now? Are you in the promised land right now? And even for those that are in the nation, the state of Israel, those people that are running to the state of Israel, is that now the promised land? With those heathen upon it controlling it? With Rome controlling it? With the United States controlling it? Is that still the promised land? It might be geographically. Geographically, it might be, but it ain't the land the Most High. He gonna clear that up. So it ain't cleared up yet. Heathen on it. It's defiled. The land is defiled. So if we're not in the promised land, then where are we? Let me tell you where we are. We are in our enemy's land. That's where we are. We in our enemy's land. Okay? We are not in the promised land. That's why I tell people, you know what? We get to the land, we're going to keep the feasts of Yah. You cannot keep the feasts of Yah in your enemy's land. It's the feast of Yah. The feast of Yah are the sign that we have overcome the enemy and we're in the promised land. That's what the feasts are about. You can't keep, that's why he kept saying you got to keep it in the place that I choose. You can't just keep it anywhere because we're in our enemy's land. What does that mean to this? What that means is, brothers and sisters, we're going to study in chapter 21. There's things we can't do that the book of Deuteronomy tells us to do, because the book of Deuteronomy is giving us instruction as we're in the promised land, which we're not. Does that mean we do away with the book of Deuteronomy? Well, some would say that, but that is absolutely false and demonic, and they deserve the hell they got coming for if anybody ever teaches that. No, but what it does mean is there are principles based on the covenant that we are to keep all through the book. Okay, principles based on the covenant. And we're going to talk about that as we study this today. Okay, but we are not in the land. The other day I was looking on YouTube and I saw this video of some brothers that, how can I say this? I'm trying to say it very nicely. I'm not trying to break on the brothers. Let's call them Hebrew Israelites. They were Hebrews, and the bloodline of Abraham. And they had on these really forms that they had made somewhere, and with these funny headpieces and glitter and all this foolishness, and they had these sticks in their hand or some sort of rod, and they were talking about creating a nation here, creating the nation here in the United States of America. And I'm shaking my head. You know, this is not the promised land. We're in an enemy land. We're in Babylon. We're in Egypt right now. Spiritual Egypt and Babylon is where we are. And we need to understand where we are, brothers and sisters. If we're in the United States of America, we're in spiritual Egypt and Babylon. We're not in the promised land. This is not the land promised to our fathers. It's not it. Okay? Not only that, you're talking about starting it. Okay, this is the thing. First off, they're talking about building an army. Some foolishness. Listen, Messiah is our high priest right now. The Bible shows us in Hebrews, he is our high priest. Okay? He's our high priest in the most holy place of the heavenly sanctuary, of which Moses was told to make a pattern that, the sanctuary Moses was told to make in Exodus 25. It's a pattern after the original that Messiah now occupies as our high priest. Okay? Messiah was appointed by the Father to be our high priest. I'm going to look at Hebrews I'm going to start at chapter 4 from verse 15. I'm going to go into chapter 5. I'm going to go into chapter 5, verse 14. Let's start at chapter 4, verse 15, and go into chapter 5, verse 14. Messiah is the high priest. Notice what it says. For we have not an high priest which cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmity, but was in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin. No man can say that except Messiah. Okay? Let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. For every high priest taken from among men, talk about the Levayim, is ordained for men in things pertaining to Yah, that he may offer both gifts and sacrifices for sins, who can have compassion on the ignorant and on them that are out of the way, for that he himself also is compassed with infirmity. And by reason hereof he ought, as for the people, so also for himself, to offer for sins. And no man taketh this honor unto himself, but he that is called of Yah, as was Aaron. So also Messiah glorified not himself to be made an high priest, but he that said unto him, Thou art my son, today have I begotten thee, as he saith also in another place, Thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek, who in the days of his flesh, when he had offered up prayers and supplication with strong crying and tears unto him that was able to save him from death, and was heard in that he feared, though he were a son, yet he learned obedience by the things which he suffered. And being made perfect, he became the author of eternal salvation unto all them that obey him, being called of Yah and high priest after the order of Melchizedek or Melchizedek, which means king of righteousness, after the order of the king of righteousness, of whom we have many things to say, hard to be uttered, seeing ye are dull of hearing. For when the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of Yah, and are become such as have need of milk and not of strong meat. For everyone that uses milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. But strong meat belongeth to them that are full age, even those by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil. This is talk. See, he's talking to the Hebrews. He's writing to the Hebrews. Y'all should know this. But see, today we can't say that because after couple thousand years of ignorance and darkness, we don't know it. We don't know it. It was Hebrews chapter 4 from verse 15 all the way through the end of chapter 5, Isha. Okay, so now Messiah is the high priest. And as the high priest, he is offering perfect righteousness to his people. He is the high priest for the nation of Israel and through Israel to the Gentiles. Now, these brothers were out here talking about building an army, almost to the point of talking about war. Okay? It's ridiculous. Hopping up and down with these stupid costumes on. And I pray they come to the truth. But the thing is, this is the thing, brothers and sisters. As Messiah is now the high priest, he is the high priest to take, see, just as Aaron was the high priest to take sin off of the nation. Remember, they had to fast and pray during the Day of Atonement. For that one day, they were fasting and praying and afflicting their souls and confessing their sin, and the sin was taken off of them. And whoever was not fasting and praying, the Bible said, would be cut off from his people. Messiah right now is the high priest to take sin off of his people. 99% of the world doesn't understand what I'm telling you right now because they don't read the scriptures. Please read the scriptures. It says he is the high priest to take sin off of his people. Okay? And he's cleansing the sanctuary. That is all the sin he's taken off his people going into the sanctuary through his blood. And then he's taking that sin, he's going to put it on Asatan, the scapegoat. And so now, in the years we live now, the teens of the 2000s and going forward, it is the time for the people of the nation to seek righteousness and holiness and truth. It is the time for us to develop a character that is modeled after Messiah, whose character is a replication of the Father. So, in other words, it's for us to have the character of our Father through the Messiah. All right? It is a time for holiness, humility, fasting and praying, and truth and righteousness. It is not a time to be talking about creating an army in your enemy's land. I mean, as you study the scriptures, Israelites were taken into captivity and became slaves in Egypt. Israelites became slaves in Babylon. They were under the control of the Medes and the Persians. They were under the control of the Greeks. They were under the control of the Romans. They were under the control of the sons of Japhet as slave ships going into different places, right? And none of these areas did we, there were little skirmishes we won, like in Haiti or here or there, but there was really no place that we overcame by trying to fight our enemies in the land that's there. You understand? So it is not out. We talked about the first phase of our deliverance that the Bible talks about, the Egyptian style deliverance. They did not get delivered from Egypt by trying to create an army in Egypt to beat the Egyptians. They were delivered by the Most High by trusting in the blood of that spirit that killed lamb, and trusting his word when he said there were plagues falling. They were delivered by that. That's called grace. That's power to obey, brothers and sisters. Power to obey. That's justification by faith. That means you have been declared innocent, though you are guilty. That means your sin's been taken off of you, don't deserve to be. That means righteousness is covering you, though you don't deserve it. That's grace. That's power to overcome sin. And he gives us that power for one purpose, brothers and sisters. No, we think, well, yeah, he wants to save us. Yeah, he wants to save us. But the purpose is that his name will be vindicated and glorified, because he's been called a liar. He's been called a liar. Our father being called a liar by the earth, by Satan, by all the people of Satan, is being called a liar. And he's going to vindicate his name in us by putting his righteousness on us and causing us to perfectly reflect his holiness. That's what we should be seeking right now. That's what we should be looking for. We are not going to be delivered trying to pick up arms land. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. We are going to be delivered as we are filled with the set apart spirit of the Most High, so that our faces are glowing. See, when you fill with his spirit and you can walk on water, you're not worried about tanks and bombs and bullets. You're not worried about that. Check it out. Check it out. Wait. You remember when Messiah was in the Garden of Gethsemane? Y'all remember that? The night he was betrayed, he went into the Garden of Gethsemane, right? Right, watch. He went to the Garden of Gethsemane. Okay, check it out. And here comes Judas, right? Here comes Judas, the traitor. So he kisses Messiah, right? Peter, Akafa, he pulled out his sword. What did he do with his sword? He went to try to cut somebody's head off, right? But he missed. And instead of cutting the boy's head off, he cut off his ear, right? And they cut the ear of the brother off. Messiah reached forth, Bible says, and healed the dude's ear. They had Messiah, they grabbed him, and just like that, he got himself loose and healed the boy's ear, and then let him take him. Check it out. You think he said, if I wanted to, he told him, my father sent me 12 legions of angels right now if I wanted. But he let himself go. He let them take him. He let them take him. He said, I lay my life down, I'll take it back again. You understand? See, so it's not about arms, man. We're going to take up arms at the end of the 1,000 years and show the heathen a few things. Then, but now is not the time. We're in our enemy's land. Now we need to be delivered by the spirit of righteousness and true holiness. This is what we need. Humility, brothers and sisters. And especially those of the Hebrew lineage that have been oppressed and knocked down and dragged out and seeking refuge in so-called the black church, which is a farce. Christianity's a farce, man. So for real, man. There's no power in it. There's no power. And any power they get is from Satan, because they start jumping up and down, acting a fool. Listen, the power is in the word of the Most High and in his spirit. And they are one. When you are in the spirit of the Most High, you are aligned with his word and you will obey his word. That just comes natural. He said, I'll put my spirit on you and you're going to keep my statutes and judgments and do them. So when we're looking at the Adabarim, the word of the Most High, we're not only seeing our father's history, we're also seeing our future, right? We're also seeing our future. We're also seeing the future of the heathen. We're also seeing principles that he teaches us through what our fathers were taught in this book when they got into the land. So let's look at that. Let's go to Deuteronomy 21. Let's go to Deuteronomy 21. Okay? Deuteronomy 21. So and this is what we're dealing with here. In the land, we're dealing with principles of righteousness and truth. Okay? So let's look at it. Deuteronomy chapter 21. I'm going to read from verse 1. Deuteronomy 21 from verse 1 down to verse 9. Okay? From 1 to 9. Notice what it said. If one be found slain in the land which Yahweh thy Elohim giveth thee to possess it, lying in the field, and it be not known who have slain him, then thy elders and thy judges shall come forth, and they shall measure unto the cities which are round about them that is slain, round about him that is slain, excuse me. And it shall be that the city which is next unto the slain man, even the elders of that city, shall take an heifer, which hath not been wrought with, which hath not drawn in the yoke. And the elders of that city shall bring down the heifer unto a rough valley, which is neither eared nor sown, and shall strike off the heifer's neck there in the valley. And the elders, the sons of Levi, shall come near, for them Yahweh thy Elohim have chosen to minister unto him, and to bless the name of Yahweh. By their word shall every controversy and every stroke be tried. And all the elders of that city that are next unto the slain man shall wash their hands over the heifer that is beheaded in the valley. And they shall answer and say, our hands have not shed this blood, neither have our eyes seen it. Be merciful, O Yahweh, unto thy people Yasha'ah, whom thou hast redeemed, and lay not innocent blood unto thy people of Yasha'ah's charge, and the blood shall be forgiven them. So shalt thou put away the guilt of innocent blood from among you, when thou shalt do that which is right in the sight of Yahweh. Now, again, he's giving them this is instruction when they get into the land, the promised land. And we had a whole lesson about innocent blood, and he brings it out again here. Why is it important? Obviously, the Most High in his righteousness does not allow death of an innocent. I know there's going to be people that's going to rise up on that state, but I got you. People are going to say, well, what about all the people that die in 9/11 and these wars and all these innocent babies that are killed, blah, blah, blah. Listen to me carefully. You ready? Again, he's talking about the land. There will be no innocent blood in the land where his chosen people are going to settle. Okay? Outside of the land where the heathen dwell, that's under the power of another spirit. The people of the earth are under the power. That's why he said the God of this world, he called Asatan, what? He called him the God of this world. Why did he call him the God of this world? Because that's the God that the world has chosen, the one that they decided they want to be a God with. He said, you can be as gods, and they believe him. Not just Eve, the earth today believes him. All the religions of the earth, all the things of the earth have to do with man being God. When they start talking about, man is 20 million years old, they're trying to be God. Okay? And so with all the things that go on this planet have to do with Asatan. You say, but God said he's the God of the world. He's the God of his people. See, this is what I'm saying. You have to understand, he is looking at his people. And he sent Messiah to redeem his people and anybody that wants to come with his people. The rest of this stuff, he ain't worried about that. He's not. Y'all need to understand that. Right now, as he is in the most holy place, Messiah is interceding and preparing the 144,000. This is the last great work he does before he returns to earth. He is preparing the 144,000, and he's diligently preparing them right now. He is putting them through all types of hell and trial. He's preparing their character. He's humiliating them. He's humbling them. He's pouring his spirit of righteousness and true holiness upon them because they are seeking it, so that they can give the message with a power that this earth has never seen. Since the disciples were since the apostles were on the land, since Moses was on the land, they have never seen this type of power that's going to come from the 144,000. The power of the Spirit in their word. Okay? We talking about something very high, very powerful. That the earth is not going to understand, because all of the religions of this earth are foolishness compared to what's coming. Okay? So he's preparing that for that last warning, so that he can give his last warning message to the earth, to call his people out of all of these fake churches, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, Judaism. Call his people out of all of that foolishness and call them to come to the truth before these plagues fall, because he's getting ready to do that. And that's why he's preparing this 144,000. All right. And so the rest of that stuff, that belongs to Asatan. All that death and disease and famine, and that's Asatan's work. See, all that didn't exist. Check this out, brothers and sisters. In the Garden of Eden, before Adam sinned, did you see anything about a disease? Did you see anything about death in there? Did anybody die before they bit of that tree they weren't supposed to eat? And even after they did eat of it, Adam still lived 9 centuries. 9 centuries after he sinned. 9 centuries. But they were supposed to live forever. Okay? Supposed to live forever. And that's what he's going to have back. The reason he hasn't given up on this whole thing is because he's going to restore it. The Bible talks about, in the book of Acts, it talks about a restitution of all things. A restitution of all things. He's going to bring it back the way he had it, baby. He's not going to leave it like this. So Asatan is running this ugly stuff right now. He's running all these innocents getting killed, all these babies getting slaughtered in the abortion clinic, and all these babies getting raped and child molestation and all this foolishness. He's running that. Yah is concerned with his people. And that's why I'm saying to you too, brothers and sisters, that's on a side note. If you are a servant of Yah, if you are an Israelite and you are seeking his word and his glory, brother, Akath and Akath, pray for your families, pray for your acquaintances, because your prayers can save them from some of these things that are going on out here. Your prayers can save them from some of these things. He will protect them on account of you, if you are faithful to him. See? Wait, you think I'm lying? Wait, did not Abraham intercede for Lot in Sodom? To the point where the angel had to grab Lot and his wife and 2 daughters and drag them out because they weren't going to leave. They were going to get destroyed in there. Had to drag them out of there. Why? Because Abraham interceded for him. Did not Moses time and again intercede on behalf of the nation when the Most High had decided to destroy them and stop that from happening? Yes, he did. And so, Ox and Akos, I want to tell you, brothers and sisters, your prayers can stop calamity from coming on some of your loved ones, your acquaintances, your friends, if you're praying for them, if you're offering a prayer and humility before the Most High on a daily basis in the blood of your Mashiach Yahushua, by that righteousness, you protect your people. That's who he's looking at. The rest of these folks got problems, man. I'm trying to tell you. Okay? I'm trying to tell you. And that's why he brings forth the 144,000. Because they're going to give a message that the whole earth is going to be able to hear. It's an opportunity for the earth to come out of sin. Most are not going to take that opportunity. Most are going to not only not take the opportunity, they're going to want to kill the 144,000. They're going to kill them. But it's not going to be said that the Most High didn't bring forth every effort to save folks that wanted to be saved. He's not going to be able to say that because he is righteous in everything that he does. He's righteous in everything that he says. He is perfectly righteous in everything that he thinks. Brothers and sisters, you need to understand that about the Most High Yah. He is perfect in righteousness, perfect in understanding, perfect in wisdom. Only those that have no understanding and wisdom about him can say other than that. Okay? We don't understand because our minds have been dulled. We don't live 900 years like Adam did, 969 like Methuselah did. We don't even live 777 like Lamech did. We don't live long like that. We think we know everything. because we got the internet and we fly planes and we do this and we do that. We don't live like them brothers did. We have degraded. We are degraded. We are mutants from what the Most High has created. Compared to what we were supposed to be, we are mutants, brothers and sisters. Mutated, degenerated. And still, he offers us perfect righteousness. See? He's going to remake us, starting with the spirit. He remakes the spirit first. That's the born again experience. He remakes the spirit first. Then at the return of Messiah, he's going to remake the body. Going to give us a new body that will never die, never get tired. Okay? Never get tired, never die. Powerful and growing. But first thing, before he can give that to us, he has to give us a new mind. He's not going to put a new body on some sinners. He's not going to put a new body on people that are rebellious. He's not going to do that. He's going to put the new body with those that would contain the new mind of the spirit of righteousness and holiness. Okay? That's why at the end of that 1,000 years, when we come back here, when the New Jerusalem settles over there in that land, and it's going to be on. They're going to outnumber us. The wicked going to outnumber us many times over. But they are going to be in trouble. One of us will put 10,000 of them to flight. One of us. One of us. Praise the Most High Yah. Bible says it. So here, the principle is to put away the sin of innocent blood. And they kill a heifer, or that's basically a female cow. I don't know why he chose a female cow, but he chose a female cow to represent Messiah, taking the penalty of that dead innocent upon himself, so that the people whose town is near where that body was won't be found guilty. And they're praying, be merciful, O Yahweh, unto thy people, Yasha'al, whom thou hast redeemed, and lay not innocent blood upon thy people, Israel's charge. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. Listen here. Listen up. In modern Babylon, there's innocent blood in every land, man. I mean, there's innocent blood all over the place. And the more modern the country is, the more innocent blood has been shed. You hearing what I'm saying? The more modern the country is, the more innocent blood has been shed. That's how Satan's kingdom is built up. It's built up on innocent blood and corruption. It's not built on righteousness. It's built up on innocent blood and corruption. Okay? And it's going to be so until he's destroyed, until he's annihilated off the earth. Okay? It's going to be so. So he said, at the end of that, he says, so shalt thou put away the guilt of innocent blood from among you when thou shalt do that which is right in the sight of Yahweh. See, because he is the spirit of righteousness. Yah is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him what? In spirit and in truth. And that spirit is the spirit of righteousness, holiness, and truth, brothers and sisters. It is a spirit that we receive. It is not something we naturally possess. It is a divine nature. And he said we should be partakers of a divine nature. Partakers, which means you don't naturally possess it. It's something you have to obtain, which you receive in exchange for your sin, for your humble confession of your true condition. He will give you righteousness, holiness, and truth. And no, he's not going to make you rich like Abraham. Don't listen to these preachers out here telling you, Abraham was rich, so we could get rich too. Listen here. Abraham lived in a tent in the desert, brothers and sisters. I don't care how much money he had. He wasn't buying no Mercedes in a tent in the desert. Okay? People use any excuse to satisfy their flesh, man. And just try to use the scriptures as an excuse to satisfy their flesh. But no, he's not about trying to make us heavy in Federal Reserve notes. Y'all need to understand that. It ain't about that. He's not doing business with the Federal Reserve. Let's break this plain for you. The Most High Yah, the creator of heaven, is not doing business with the Federal Reserve that creates your dollar bills. He's not doing business with them Ashkenazis that created that private bank that controls the money supply of the whole world. business with them. So you are thinking that you're going to get money and do the work of the Most High. You're kind of confused because he's not going to use those things for his work. If you are filled with his spirit and you can walk on water, what money you need? What money you need? If you are filled with his spirit and you can go 80 days, as Moses did, 80 days, he did 40 twice, with 80 days with no food, no water, and have your face glowing so that so that people can't even look in your face. What money can buy that? What money can buy that? Going to be taken from this earth without seeing death. What money could buy that? And where are all the rich people, billionaires' money going to be when they staring down the face and he judging them on that day? What their money going to do for them then? See, when they hit the grave, what money going to do for them? Brothers and sisters, I'm not talking to the majority. I'm not. I'm just the majority of human beings that hear the words that I'm speaking on this microphone. That's why we had all this trouble tonight. It's coming. And he's trying to stop it. The Most High overruled him. Praise the Most High. But I want to tell you, I'm talking to the people that are interested in getting rich in the spirit of righteousness and truth. I'm talking about people that are willing to put everything on the altar for the Most High Yah's glory. Whatever humble thing he asks you to do, wherever he asks you to be. I'm looking for people that are seeking to glorify his name, whether it be doing a good job at your job or quitting your job, whatever. And glory to his name. You understand? Testing, whether it be by life or death, whatever, to bring honor and glory to his name. And there are very few of those people on the planet Earth. That's why the 144,000 men are a literal number. It is a literal number of men. And yes, it includes women and children. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that by the grace of the Most High tomorrow. But tonight, we're focused on Deuteronomy 21. So now we have seen the first principle here in chapter 21 was to put away the sin of innocent blood from among you. Don't be involved with innocent blood, brothers and sisters. Don't be involved with it. Don't be involved with killing, even an animal. And listen, didn't he say, wait a second, let's look back, Genesis. See, people got to look at the scriptures, man. That's all I'm saying. You got to look at the scriptures. And brothers and sisters, listen, I'm not saying this as if I'm perfect. I'm not doing that. I just want to tell you, I am seeking like I'm telling you to seek with all my heart, all my soul, to have his spirit of righteousness on me so that my life is lined up with his word. As the Apostle Shaul said, not as if I had attained, but I seek after. And he said, I forget those things which are behind, and I reach forth for that which is before. And seek the high calling of Yah in Messiah. That's the thing, brothers and sisters. In Genesis chapter 9, when they first got off the ark, notice what the Most High said to Noah, his 3 sons, and their 4 wives. Notice what he said to them. Genesis chapter 9. From verse 1 down to verse 5. Watch. Notice what it says here. And Yah blessed Noah and his sons and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, upon every fowl of the air, upon all that moveth upon the earth, upon all the fishes of the sea. Into your hand are they delivered. Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you, even as the green herb have I given you all things. But the flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, ye shall not eat. Surely your blood of your lives will I require at the hand of every beast, will I require at the hand of every man, at the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man. So what is he saying there? Don't eat the blood of the animal, because I'm going to require your blood. You eat that animal's blood, I'm requiring yours. You understand? That's why I believe a lot of people catching all these diseases and sick, they eating this animal's blood, man. You know what? Have gone to a steakhouse. Now, I haven't been to one in a long time. I was just talking to my father about this the other day, though, and he testified to this, what I'm about to tell you. He said he went to a steakhouse, and my father really doesn't, even he's not a religious man, never have been, but he never wanted to eat pork, and he never wanted to eat blood. He never allowed it. He made sure that when we bought chicken, he boiled the blood out of it. He cut the fat off of it. Right? He would do stuff like that. And then when he ate steak, he would make sure the blood was gone. So when he goes to a place to order steak, he tells them, well done, right? Now, I don't eat steak at all. But he tells me, he said when he goes to the places, he can notice that most of the people want the thing medium rare or rare, like with blood coming out of it. They want it. Blood dripping off of it. He got to the point where he said he don't even go to steakhouses no more. And that's what's killing, because he said right here in his word, I'm going to require that. That's you just lusting, man. That's not you trying to survive. That's not you eating to survive. That's you eating for lust, man. See? The children of Israel were shepherds. They grew animals and they slaughtered them and ate them, but they made sure they did that blood was gone. And if you study the Bible, they really did that for feasts and for celebrations. They didn't eat that flesh every day now. It's a special occasion. And they made sure the blood was off out of it. Now, these slaughterhouses that kill these cows and these chickens, man, they killing them by the millions per week, by the millions. And they just slaughter them. That blood is in them. People just eating the blood. People love to eat the blood. They love it. And that's why no matter how much doctors warn people with regard to colon cancer and red meat, doctors have warned people about colon cancer and red meat for years. Doctors even doing that. That practice medicine. Don't even know what they're doing. They practice the medicine. And they telling you, watch the red meat, because the red meat causes colon cancer. There's a lot linked to colon cancer. They tell you that, right? Even with that, the people still flock to these steakhouses. I mean, you go by any steakhouse in any town, it's packed. And I believe it's because they eating the blood. It's like if you ever give blood to a dog, you ask anybody that's raised dogs and want them to be mean, they feed them blood. More. When they feed the blood, the dog want more. And it gets to the point where you got to put the dog down because it's not going to be tamed. It's going to be mean, right? That's how you get the dog to be real mean. They feed it blood. And it wants more blood. That's why it'll kill a person. But if it happens to a dog, what do you think will happen to you? Eating blood, you're going to come back for more. You're going to keep coming back for more. You're going to say, I can't live without it. And that's what people tell me all the time. I can't live without my meat. What they're really saying, they don't realize it. What they're really telling me, you can't live without the blood. You can't live without eating the blood. You're eating blood and you can't live without it. It's in your system. Now, you can be delivered once you understand what you're doing. But that's why the Bible says you're defiling the temple of Yah with that blood and he's going to destroy you. See? That's why a lot of these people catching these diseases. Leave that blood alone, man. If you're going to eat that stuff, make sure the blood is out of it. Make sure there's no blood in it when you eat it. Make sure it's gone. If you see blood, if it's red in any way, don't eat it. Don't eat it. Don't. Okay, don't. Put it up. It's because you can't eat that blood, man. Okay, and if you bring it home and you cook it yourself, which is what you should be doing, because you don't trust the stuff they're making in these restaurants, man. But when you bring it home and you cook it, you take that blood, make sure that blood is boiled out of it. You cook that thing thoroughly, and that's how you eat it. You don't eat it with the blood in it. Don't eat it with any blood in it. You hearing what I'm saying? Now, I advise you leave them animals alone, point blank. But if you don't want to do that, the Bible tells you what you can eat. It tells you what the clean foods are, what the unclean meats are. Fine, but don't eat the blood. It says that very strenuously. And I mean, the Bible does say it. We went through a whole lesson on it in Deuteronomy. Don't eat it. Okay. So he said, innocent blood put away. That's part of the innocent blood. It's not just people, it's the animals too. You eating the blood of animals, you eating innocent blood. They ain't spilled their stuff for you to be eating their blood. By the million. The land is defiled, brothers and sisters. The land is greatly defiled in many ways, killing babies, putting innocent people in jail for long term so that they can get paid from the jail, so that politicians can get kickbacks from the jail. Judges can get kickbacks. That's what's going on. Going into other people's countries and taking their natural resources and destroying their people. Going in there with their World Bank and bankrupting countries, man. There's so much corruption going on. The land is defiled. The land is defiled. and judgment is coming. Right now is the preparation. It ain't a time for us to be talking about making an army and fighting somebody with guns. It's the time for us to be seeking the spirit of righteousness and holiness and making sure that the Most High has prepared us to be sealed in his spirit. Let us continue. Deuteronomy chapter 21. Notice again the second principle here. Okay, this is going to blow some people away, but that's okay. We're looking for the truth, is we not? We did a whole study a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago now, on what the Most High says about mixed marriages. Y'all remember that? Some of y'all were here. We did a study on what the Most High says about mixed marriages. And it ain't what people out here thinking about mixed marriages. See, in our perverted society, let me say it again, in our perverted society, and that's what we live in, a perverted society. We have Caucasian and Anglo-Saxon people that have been dominant on the earth for 2,000 years, calling themselves white. Calling themselves white. They're not white. They're Anglo-Saxon, Germanic tribes from the mountains of Europe and Caucasus. Okay? From the sons of Japhet. But they haven't called themselves white. And then you have people of color call themselves black, but they are, Bible does call people black, it does. It doesn't call anybody white except a leper. Only person they call white is a leper. Okay? But it does call people black. But they think in our perverted society, because now the Caucasian man has exalted himself so that he think he higher than anybody. So that if a Caucasian person is with a so-called black or Negro, so-called Negro, that's a mixed marriage. And it was against the law in most states until recently. Against the law in most states until recently. That has only changed in the last 50 years. Prior to that, a mixture of a so-called white with a so-called black, and people call that mixed marriages and unequally yoked, and I heard Israelites calling it heathen. But what makes a person a heathen is not, listen carefully, the color of your skin doesn't make you a heathen. Let me tell you from the scriptures. Messiah told the scribes and Pharisees, I know you're Abraham's seed, but you're of your father, the devil. Wait. Did I make that up or did he say that? Did he say that? Did he actually say that to Israelites of blood origin? Did he say that to them? Did he actually say that? Let's look at it. Let's make sure I'm not making stuff up. I don't want people to think I'm making stuff up. I want to make sure people see what I see in the scriptures so that we can get away from all the foolishness that's being taught out here, right? So let's look at this. Gospel of Yochanan, chapter 8. Gospel of Yochanan, chapter 8. I'm going to start at verse 37. I would like to read before that, but for the point that we're making now, I'm going to start at verse 37 and go down to verse 45. Okay? John. Yochanan is John. Yochanan is John, chapter 8, from verse 37 down to verse 45. John 8, Gospel of John, chapter 8, for y'all not in the know. Yochanan is John. John is the Greek English way of saying the Hebrew word Yochanan. So we're going from verse 37 to verse 45. Notice what it says. Messiah speaks and he says, I know that ye are Abraham's seed, but ye seek to kill me, because my word hath no place in you. I speak that which I have seen with my father, and ye do that which ye have seen with your father. They answered and said unto him, Abraham is our father. Yahushua said unto him, if you were Abraham's children, you would do the works of Abraham. But now you seek to kill me, a man that hath told you the truth, which I have heard of Yahweh. This did not Abraham. You do the deeds of your father. They said unto him, then said they unto him, we be not born of fornication. We have one father, even Yahweh. Yahushua said unto them, if Yahweh were your father, you would love me, for I proceeded forth and came from Yahweh. I of myself, but he sent me. Why do ye not understand my speech? Even because ye cannot hear my word. Ye are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. And because I tell you the truth, you believe me not. So here's Israelites by blood. And he said their father was the devil. So let me ask you something. If a follower of the Mashiach Yahushua, an Israelite, was to marry one of them brothers, would they not be unequally yoked? If a woman that was of Yahushua, like see Miriam Magdalene, who he delivered from 7 devils, who he met at the tomb, if she was to marry one of them brothers he just called the devil, would they not be unequally yoked? They would be. So it's not about skin color. It's about what God you worshiping. That's what it's about, brothers. This is what God you worshiping. That's what this is about. Now, let's break this down. We've said it before, but people, because the brainwashing is heavy, the brainwashing is strong. So we got to break it down often. So let's break it down again. Listen here. Most of the Caucasian and Anglo-Saxon people, most of them, have been in positions of power for centuries. And I don't care what color you are, that causes you to get a little spoiled. It does. It causes you to get a little spoiled and a little privileged, right? It causes you to get a little privileged so that they have so long a history of privilege, especially in America, in 200 something years of America, England, and Germany. They have such a long history of privilege that is to understand true faith and righteousness. It's difficult for them to understand. It's difficult to understand the true struggle, because they've been privileged for so long. The Caucasians that have a shot at understanding the struggle are the ones that are economically poor, the ones they call trash. Those are the ones that have the shot because they are poor. They understand a little bit of the struggle. They don't enjoy the privilege. And even some of them are more privileged than people of color. Okay? But that's why it's difficult. That's why when a so-called black man, so-called African American, marries a white woman, typically that woman's not going to understand where he's coming from. Typically, not all the time, but typically, she's not going to understand where he's coming from because she's been in a life that is mostly privileged. She don't have to worry about walking in the store and have somebody watching her to steal. She don't have to worry about driving a car, having a cop pulling her over and killing her. She don't have to worry about that. Okay? But he does. He does. She don't have to be concerned. You see, and while I'm on this subject, let me bring up this whole women's rights thing and women's liberation. Let me bring this up. This woman, this Ashkenazi named Gloria Steinem, she was the figurehead of this stuff in the 60s and 70s. Gloria Steinem, Ashkenazi. Okay? And what that is the Caucasian woman demanding equal rights from the Caucasian man. That's really what that is, okay? Listen carefully to me now. But what she has done, the Caucasian woman, is included the woman of color in that struggle. Now, let me tell you this. There's no black woman that's going to argue with no Caucasian man about equal pay and get it. It's not going to happen. So what does the woman of color do? She downs her man. Well, there's no black man that's been in any position to deny a black woman equal pay. Okay? So she downs him because that's all she got to down. And so now the women's liberation movement is destroying the black family. And it's destroying families, period. But especially the black family. So now you got Caucasian men at the top of the food chain. Then you got Caucasian women. Then you got black women. Then you got the black man. He's last. He's last. Okay? Asian women and Asian men above him. Even Spanish people, a lot of them are Hebrews too. They're above him too. Okay? And this liberation movement push all that. Okay? And the killing of black babies. All this control my body and my right to abortion stuff. That's really, most of these abortions are black babies. That's what that's about. That's Exodus chapter 1 all over again. It's all a farce. It's all a game, brothers and sisters. And we're being played, and we don't realize it. Okay, so mixed marriages don't have to do with the color of a person's skin. What God are they worshiping? There are Caucasian people that have grown in such a way to receive the truth of who the Hebrews are, to receive the truth of the plight of the true Hebrew man, and receive Yah and receive Yahweh and want to serve him in spirit and truth and glorify Yah. That person is an Israelite, regardless of what color they are. Okay, and you got black men that are like TD fakes out here scamming people for money using religion, right? Right? And he's a heathen. That man's a heathen. Just as any Caucasian man that you could call a heathen, he's a heathen, even though he be dark in color. So I just want to show you from the scriptures that it's not about the color of the people's skin. Although the color of the brown people show you who they are from them slave ships, their salvation is not based on their skin color. And the color of the Caucasians show you they come from Europe, and yeah, their father's been responsible for a lot of death and disease and raping and pillaging on this earth, yes. But that don't tell you nothing about them getting salvation. Salvation is not based on, or lack of it, not based on their skin color. Y'all need to understand that. But again, that being said, in the United States of America, where I live anyway, most people that are Caucasian get certain privileges that people of color don't get. And because of that, they get an entitled mentality and they're above, and they can't help it. You know, it's been like that for hundreds of years, couple thousand years, and they can't help it. And that's partially going to be their downfall because they don't know how to humble themselves the way they should so that they could repent of their sin and the sins of their fathers and obtain salvation. Most of them don't. I've known some, and I know some that have. Praise the Most High Yah. Most of them don't. But that doesn't mean all people of color are going to be saved, because there's a lot of them that's are sold out and trying to get what they can in the devil's kingdom. That ain't going to work either. That ain't going to work. So here in Deuteronomy chapter 21, notice what it says. Deuteronomy chapter 21, going to go from verse 10 down to verse 14. From 10 to 14, notice what it says. When thou goest forth to war against thine enemies, and Yahweh thy Elohim hath delivered them into thy hands, and thou hast taken them captive, and seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and hast a desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife, then thou shalt bring her home to thy house, and she shall shave her head and pare her nails, and she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in thy house and bewail her father and her mother a full month. After that thou shalt go in unto her and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife. And it shall be, if thou have no delight in her, then thou shalt let her go whither she will. Thou shalt not sell her at all for money, for thou shalt not make merchandise of her, because thou hast humbled her. Till now, they're in the land. They go to war against the enemy. When they destroy the enemy, they kill all the males. And they kill all the women that are not virgins. That's what they do. That's what they did. And if they can save children and they can save women, and they became slaves. Okay? And they say, if you see a woman that you want to marry, you want her to be your wife, bring her, she shave her head, cut her nails, and let her mourn her family's loss, because in that situation, their family's been killed, they've been destroyed in the war. And then you're going to have her for your wife. And if you don't want her anymore, you let her go free, but you don't sell her like a slave, because you humbled her. You have to have respect. Okay, so what does this have to do with us in our time? The captives would have been heathen. You're bringing the heathen into your nation. You're going to have children with this heathen woman, but she's going to become an Israelite. There's examples of this. Rahab, the harlot in Jericho, her and her family were delivered because she received the spies. And she married a man, he came in unto her, Salmon was his name, of the tribe of Judah. Salmon and Rahab, the former harlot, she wasn't a harlot anymore when she came into the nation. They had a child. And that child was Boaz. Boaz married another woman that came into the nation, another heathen woman from Moab named Ruth, who came into the nation and accepted the God of the nation and worshiped the God of the nation, kept covenant. See, that's why in the Bible you never see people give vows. You ever notice that? People don't get married. You see what he said? He didn't say you take vows and she becomes your wife. He said you go into her and she becomes your wife. Why don't they take vows in the nation? Y'all ever thought about that? Answer me this. We did go over this before, but I'm going to test you now. So why don't they take vows in the Bible when they get married? Why don't they come before some priest and take vows to each other like people do in the heathen today? Why don't they do that? Tell me now. Can you hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3. Can y'all hear me? Why don't they take vows? How come you don't see people taking vows in the Bible? Ain't no vows written in the Bible. How come you don't see them doing that? Why? Why do you think? Think about it. Think about it. Why do you think? Nope. Nope. Why don't they take vows? Yes, yeah, that's good. That's a good guess, sister Isha. That's a good guess, Isha. Yah has joined them, but you're almost there, but you're not quite there. You're almost there. Let me explain with you. And what do all true Israelites have in common? All true Israelites have in common that they are in the bond with the Most High Yah of the covenant. Is that true or not? Don't all true Israelites have a bond to keep covenant with the Most High Yah? So if you are both bound to keep covenant to the Most High Yah, will you not obey his statutes and judgments? Won't that come? Isn't that like part of the deal? So if you're both bound by oath to do as the nation of Israel said, all that Yah has said we will do and be obedient. If both of you have decided that, and in our day and age also, Messiah has taught us you're going to be baptized after you have covenant to keep covenant with Yah, you are baptized in repentance, signaling that the old person, that the spirit of sin, you're dying to the spirit of sin and you're living to the spirit of righteousness. From now on, the life of righteousness is what you want, of holiness. If both of you have done that, you don't need to take no vows. So keep herself from all men unless she with one man, and she's going to be with that man, and that's the only man she's going to be with for her whole life, because she's taking a vow to serve Yah. That makes sense. She's going to keep herself pure and she's going to serve Yah. Right? The husband is going to take care of that woman, as the Bible says he should. He can provide her food, raiment, shelter, because he has covenant to do what Yah says, and Yah says that's what you're going to do. That's why they don't do vows. You know, they make up. Today they got these poetic vows they like to write to each other. That's all cute and everything. But in terms of the vows to Yah, and in keeping the vow to Yah, you're going to keep covenant with each other. You're going to respect each other. Us to do that, and to love the Most High with all your mind, all your heart, all your strength. God's before him. You're going to keep the covenant. Both of you. Right? And that's why it's unequally yoked if you are wedded to somebody that's not keeping covenant. That's right. So thank you for putting that for Isha, for Shema Banya. Thank you for putting that for Shema. But now, y'all hearing what I'm saying? So that's why when a man has sex with a woman in the Bible, that's considered his wife. They have an agreement. Now the two families come together and they make an agreement. This is going to be your wife, which comes with certain, there's certain implications. It means he's going to provide for her house, shelter, clothing. He's going to provide for her. That's the implication. He's going to provide, because the Bible says you shall not diminish that. And she's going to provide for him. She's going to take care of his house. She's going to be the virtuous woman of Proverbs 31. She's going to keep covenant with the Most High. She's not going to have no other man but that man. Take care of that man, because she's going to treat that man the way that man's to the Most High. She's going to be to that man. She's going to take care of him. She's going to honor him. That makes sense, brothers and sisters? Because that's what the Bible teaches us. That the wife is a symbol of the body of Mashiach, as he loves the church, so the husband's supposed to love the wife and the wife's supposed to honor her husband. That's right. That makes sense. As we give honor to the Most High, woman's supposed to give honor to her husband. Well, the truth is, most wives don't give honor to their husbands today. With this whole, all these things out here, this women's lib and all this equal rights and all this, women don't give honor to their husband today. They have disrespect, and husbands don't honor the wives either. And so there's much disrespect. There's much perversion in the marriage relation today. And then when you get married in these heathen ways with these heathen, it's a whole different thing now. Right? Husbands don't honor their wives and love them as Messiah loved the church, and wives don't honor the husband as Messiah loved his father. Then you got these rascals out here trying to have two wives. Well, let's get into that now. Deuteronomy chapter 21, from verse 15. From verse 15 down to verse 17. Notice, Deuteronomy 21, from verse 15 to verse 17. If a man have two wives, one beloved and another hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, then it shall be that when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he hath, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn by giving him a double portion of all that he hath. For he is the beginning of his strength, the right of the firstborn is his. Now, here the Bible is implying a man can have two wives, which is true. A man can have two wives in the Bible. But it's not the way we think about it in our day and age. You see, today, men think about sex. Let me say that again. Men think about sex. That's what men think about. Right? Men think about sex. No question. Okay? And so when men want two wives, they're thinking about all the sex they can have with two different women. Right? That's okay. But in the Bible, it wasn't just about men having sex with two women. When a man had two wives, it was about the building up of the nation. It was about the man being responsible to take care of those women, to love those women, to respect those women. But today, first of all, a man in that position is able to take care of, house, clothe, feed two women. You hear him? Okay? That was expected. That was expected. House, clothe, feed. Okay, and notice it here too. It didn't say 3, 4, 5, 6, because the Most High's showing us He don't mind you having two, as long as you can take care of them properly. But in this day and age, most people cannot. Most people cannot, not only financially, they're not even mentally prepared because the society's perverted people. See, brothers and sisters, let me give you the honest truth about it. And I know this is going to be harsh. Most people in this day and age, they're not husband material, they're not wife material. They're just not. So messed up this generation is. So messed up. Not husband material or right wife material. Wife don't know how to take care of a husband. Husband don't know how to respect and take care of a wife. Much less two. Okay? Much less two. Now, I can see where it could be useful, where a woman is struggling, she's a single parent, and a brother comes and he's taking care of her, and he's got another woman, he's taking care of both of them, he's helping them both out, they're working together. But that situation is idealistic, it's not realistic. Why do I say that? Because our society is jacked, man. It's jacked up. And just because the brother got dark skin and put a rag on his head does not mean that he know how to be somebody's husband. And just because a sister can put a rag on her head and wear all white, and call herself by a Hebrew name, that does not mean she's prepared to be somebody's wife. Does not mean that. And many finding this out the hard way as I'm speaking to you. Many finding this out the hard way. Okay? Getting in bad situations. The Most High brought Eve to Adam. Adam was looking at the animals, and he saw that everybody was by two, but he was by himself. He didn't have, like the other animals, he didn't have a pair. There wasn't no pair with him. So the Most High put him to sleep and created this woman and brought her to him. Let me tell you something. If you are prepared to be a husband, the Most High will let you know by bringing somebody to you for you to go in unto and take care of. If you are prepared to be somebody's wife, the Most High will present you to somebody that you are to honor and keep covenant with Yah with Yah along with. He will bring that person to you. Okay? They will not be somebody you have to convince to follow the Most High. They will be followers of the Most High. And your only concern should not be whether they're going to actually follow the Most High, although you can meet somebody and teach them before you come together. But your concern will be, is this the person the Most High Yah has chosen for you to be union with? And it can't be your flesh. It's got to be the spirit. Any two people with healthy bodies can join flesh. This happens every day, millions of times a day. People have sex all over the earth. Okay? So any two people that are healthy, relatively, can have sex. Okay? That does not make it right. But not any two people can have the spirit of righteousness between the both of them, the spirit of holiness and truth, where they are joined in that spirit. Not any two. You know, I noticed with my wife that no matter like whoever else food I eat, and I have food that tastes good for many people, many places. But for some reason, her food always tastes better to me than anybody else's. And I used to think that she was just a tremendous cook, which she is. My wife is a tremendous cook. She really has a gift with it. But then I come to realize it's because she's my wife, because she has been chosen to be for me, and I have been chosen to be for her. Matter if some stronger, more handsome man comes around, that's my wife. I don't care what other dude comes around. That's my wife. That's my stuff. And I know it. The Most High has given it to me. It doesn't matter what other woman comes around. It doesn't matter because I belong to her. The Most High has it that way. You understand? So we don't even get jealous. Been together too long for that because we know we belong to each other. We are bound by the Most High. That's why her food tastes good to me all the time. She makes stuff. She said, "Oh, this tastes terrible," and I'll eat it. I said, "Man, this is really good." And I'm not just trying to be nice. I tell her, "This is really good, baby." But it's because she's my wife and she's supposed to make for me. You understand? Most High ordained it that way. I did not choose her. I asked the Most High to choose, and He told me this is her 33 years ago. This is her. And I had to fast and pray to make sure I wasn't just imagining that. And He gave me many signs. This is the thing, brothers and sisters. When you are sincerely seeking the Most High's will, which means if you're with somebody and you're not married yet, you haven't come together, and you're not sure, because you definitely want to make sure that it's the Most High's will. You have to make sure, because it will. I will tell you right now, and I know most of the people listening to me will understand what I'm about to say, and you here will understand what I'm about to say. It will be disastrous, like really bad. Like, you ever been in a bad situation, like really bad, right? If it's not the Most High's will, right? And many have made enough mistakes, right, to know that. So you want to make sure it's the Most High's will above all, which means you're ready to walk away from the situation, no matter how you feel. It might hurt because you might like the person, but if it's not the Most High's will, you must be ready to walk away. Okay? But if it is His will, and He shows you, and He will give you many signs, He will show you, I'm telling you from my own experience, He never lets you walk into a situation where it's His will and He's showing you His will without, definitive signs. And He will never let you walk into a situation where it's not His will and He's showing you that. He will always show you. The problem is most of us don't listen to Him. We don't listen. Our minds are not a canvas where we can listen to His Spirit, whatever He's telling us. Our minds want to do what we want to do, or what man tells us to do, right? Either what we want to do, what man tells us to do. But when you're listening for the Spirit, He will show you. There is no question. 100% chance it's true. He will show you whether you're supposed to be with a person or not. He will show you and make it plain to you. He did it to me many times. I'm not going to go through all the story, but He gave me many signs. After He showed me initially that this woman was to be my wife, He gave me many signs that I kept praying, and I was fasting. You see, right now, I fast I fast 40 hours on water every week, 40, 44, 45, something like that. Even always at least 40. But then when He told me that, I would do it twice a week because I wanted to be sure. And that's what I admonish any man. You talking about marrying somebody, you better be fasting twice a week. And I mean just water. Now I'm not talking about on fruit juices or on smoothies or on whatever. Water, because this is serious business. And sisters, if you thinking about this, don't look at him and say, "Oh, this is how I like my man," because you just fooling yourself. If you lie to yourself, only one you're gonna hurt is yourself. And if you bring children into, you're gonna hurt them too. So make sure you fasting and pray for months. Months, not a couple of weeks, not a month, months and months before you decide. Fasting and pray for the Most High to show you His will. And He will make it known to you. I hear so many people say, "Well, I didn't know this and I didn't know that." You weren't looking. That's all I know. You weren't looking. If you were, you'd see. Because He never let you go into a situation that's bad for you unless you're not listening to Him. See, we don't like to take responsibility for our mistakes. We want to blame everybody, including the Most High, for our mistakes, right? We want to blame everybody for our mistakes. But no. So yes, to finish this little section, yes, a man can have two wives. Today you can't marry them legally in the state system, and that's fine. But if you have sex with them, that's your wife, and you're supposed to take care of her. And you better make sure that's supposed to be your wife. And woman, you better make sure that's supposed to be your husband. Don't come back later saying, "I didn't know," when you ain't even take the time to find out. Okay? And most people are not even fit to be husband and wives in this society we in. You got to go through the school of Messiah first. You got to go through training with Him before you're ready to be somebody's spouse. You're a woman, you're ready to take care of a man for real. Or you're a man, you're ready to take care of a woman for real. Okay? Because there's no joke. It's character development. Ain't no joke. Okay? Let's continue. Deuteronomy chapter 21. From verse, before I go forward. The firstborn son is to get a double portion of all the father has. So that's an Israelite custom. So in other words, if you have an inheritance to give to your children, if you do, let's say your inheritance is $100 and you got 4 children. You could say, "Oh, it's $25 a piece." But no, if you got a firstborn son, the firstborn son gets a double portion of what you have. The other children split the rest. Okay? Okay? So in that scenario, it would be 40% for the firstborn son and 20% for everybody else. Firstborn is supposed to get 20. And that's why I say, even if you have 2 wives and you favor one wife above the other, the firstborn, even if it's the one you don't favor, is supposed to get the double blessing. Beginning of your strength, He said it right there. The right of the firstborn is his. Okay? Bible. Let's continue. Deuteronomy chapter 21, from verse 18 to verse 23. Deuteronomy chapter 21. See the principles that we're going through here. These are principles of righteousness. We're not in the land, so we can't exactly do what He's telling us to do. We can't behead an animal, and we don't have cities that's in our land. We're not in the land, in captives. But the principles that we're talking about, unequally yoked, putting away innocent blood, right? That's what we're talking about. There's principles all in here. Principles of righteousness, which if you look at it, it's there for you to see. 1. If a man have a stubborn and rebellious son, which will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother, they have chastened him, he will not hearken unto them. Then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him and bring him out unto the elders of his city, unto the gate of his place. And they shall say unto the elders of his city, this our son is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. And all the men of his city shall stone him with stones that he die. Put away evil. Put evil away from among you. And all Israel shall hear and fear. And if he have committed a sin worthy of, if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be put to death, thou hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but thou shalt in any wise bury him that day. For he that is hanged is accursed of Yah, that thy land be not defiled, which Yahweh thy Elohim giveth thee for an inheritance. This is talking about being in the land. So now, first off, what is the principle when they talk about stoning your own son? What is the principle? It's simple. The principle is for to honor thy father and thy mother. Now, it is assumed, listen carefully now, that the father and the mother are faithful Israelites, and they're giving their son faithful instruction. In our day and age, there's missing fathers and missing mothers for various reasons. There's broken families, dysfunctional families for various reasons, mostly because we're in a Babylonian system. Am I right? So now it's hard to get two faithful parents because the system is so jacked, especially against the Hebrews. We talked about them breaking up the family. It's so jacked against the Hebrews that you can hardly find a two-parent family that raised children in righteousness and holiness. They might raise them in cultism and the Jehovah Witness, right? Or in the Mormon, or in the SDA, or in the Baptist, and that's the closest you'll get. Supposed to be teaching the son to honor his parents. It was so serious that he said, look, if they want to, they could bring you out there to get stoned because you're supposed to be honoring your parents. And that's supposed to be a gluttonous person, stubborn and rebellious. Honor your parents. As if you got two parents. You're blessed to have two. Honor them. Respect them. That's what this principle is about. And he said, put away evil. All Israel will hear and fear. In other words, all the children will be respectful. Look, man, we're living in a day and age, and I mean, you know, y'all know this. Children are disrespectful. Disrespectful, man. You know why? Because the parents grew up disrespectful. You got generations of parents that grew up disrespectful, and their children grow up just like them, disrespectful. Okay? And children don't respect elders, don't respect the parents. That's where you at these days. But at least in some of these heathen churches, some of these young people respect their parents, some of them. Some of these heathen churches. But don't let them heathen churches take that as no badge of honor, because you're still in a heathen Christian church. Ain't no Christianity in the Bible. Y'all need to be following the truth. Praise the Most High, Yah. But you don't hardly find no respect for parents and elders today. No, there's more respect for young people. People respect young people. People honor and glorify youth today. Glorify youth. They don't honor and glorify the elders. They don't rise before the hoary head. Not that case no more. No, it's disrespect today. Just a sign of the times, it's a sign that we're in the end, disrespect and dishonor of the elders. Praise the Most High. And then, of course, it talks about man being hung on a tree. Well, of course, this is the obvious reference. Who was hung on a tree? Messiah. He that is hung on a tree is cursed of Yah. It became a curse for us. He was hung on a tree. But wait a minute. Have not a lot of Hebrews hung from trees? Trees? There's not a Hebrew men and women hang from trees? America? I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of Hebrew men and women were hung from trees in America. But it goes to show that we have been cursed, that's for sure. And why? Because of the sins of our fathers. Well, praise the Most High Yah for the truth, right? Praise the Most High Yah for the awakening that's taking place, that we can stop the blessing, brothers and sisters. That's the blessing of the truth of the Most High Yah, of the justification by faith message, of the message of Yashar. That's the truth about it. It breaks generational curses, man. That's powerful. Generational curses are real, but the truth of the spirit of righteousness can break the generational curse. Yes, it can. Praise the Most High. If you or I decide to serve the Most High Yah in spirit and in truth, if we get on our knees and confess our sins and the sins of our fathers, generational curse be broken. The Most High Yah can break it. Generations of dysfunction can stop with you and with me. Praise the Most High Yah. That's the power of righteousness from Yah. Praise his holy name. So we have finished Deuteronomy chapter 21. We went through some stuff going through it today. Praise the Most High for it. We're going to go into chapter 22 by the grace of the Most High. 22.